Welcome back to our channel, where we talk about the real-life superheroes among us. Forget Thor and Iron Man. Today, we're diving into the awe-inspiring story of Paul Anderson, the man who faced down his own body, literally carried the weight of the world, and still emerged a champion. If you thought comic book heroes were tough, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let's pump some knowledge iron and get into it. Before stepping onto the global stage that the 1956 Melbourne Olympics provided, Paul Anderson had already created ripples in the weightlifting community. Born in Georgia in 1932, Anderson found himself drawn to the world of lifting weights at a relatively young age. His raw power and meticulous technique quickly caught the eye of coaches and sports enthusiasts alike. Anderson didn't just participate in weightlifting competitions, he dominated them. By the mid-1950s, he had broken several American and world records in various categories. He was particularly noted for his performance in the clean and jerk and the snatch, lifts that demand not just raw power but also impeccable technique. His feats had earned him titles at national championships, making him the favorite candidate to represent the United States in the super heavyweight category at the Olympics. As the Olympic year approached, the pressure was on Anderson to prove that he was not just a local hero, but a lifter of international caliber. The qualification process for the Olympic Games was rigorous, requiring athletes to compete in a series of trials that would determine their suitability for the ultimate global sports platform. While Anderson was a strong contender based on his past performances, the trials were designed to test even the most seasoned athletes. These were not just trials of strength but also of endurance, technique, and mental toughness. Against a backdrop of Cold War tensions, where sports often became a proxy battlefield for ideological supremacy, Anderson had the additional burden of representing not just himself but his country. It was amidst these physically draining preparations that Anderson began experiencing health problems he could not simply power through. He was diagnosed with a kidney condition that led to a disconcerting symptom: substantial blood in his urine. For an athlete whose sport demanded peak physical condition, this development could have been catastrophic. Doctors warned Anderson of the risks involved in heavy lifting, emphasizing the severe strain it would put on his already compromised kidneys. The easy route would have been to withdraw, to put his health above all else, and concede defeat before the battle even began. But Anderson, with his indomitable spirit, saw his Olympic dream as greater than the sum of the obstacles before him. Despite the pain and the medical risks, Anderson chose to continue, embodying an extraordinary sense of resolve. Where most would have seen a dead end, he saw a hurdle, and hurdles in Anderson's worldview were made to be overcome. As athletes arrived from all corners of the globe, Melbourne transformed into an epicenter of human achievement and international camaraderie. Flags from numerous nations flew side by side, symbolizing a temporary truce in a world often divided by politics and ideology. The city was electric with anticipation, its streets echoing with languages and accents as diverse as the skills that would be displayed. Australia's second-largest city had prepared meticulously to host the world, and the excitement was palpable. Murmurs about who would win what and which country would top the medal count were the hot topics, often heard in cafes, on trams, and in sporting arenas. The city was not just a buzz, it was alive, vibrating at the frequency of the Olympic spirit. Within the world of weightlifting, the super heavyweight category is often seen as the pinnacle, a stage where giants showcase their extraordinary abilities. In 1956, the category was a cauldron of talent, filled with athletes who had their eyes set on gold. Among them were competitors from the Soviet Union, reinforcing the undercurrents of the Cold War rivalry and making the stakes higher than ever. Records were expected to be shattered, and experts predicted one of the most fiercely competitive super heavyweight showdowns in Olympic history. To succeed, Anderson had to contend not just with his health but also with an extraordinary array of international talent. Each athlete presented a unique set of skills, from the European competitors known for their precise technique to the powerful lifters representing various parts of the world. It was no longer just about lifting weights, it was about strategy, timing, and mental fortitude. Despite the enormous pressure and his ongoing battle with kidney issues, Paul Anderson took to the platform with an air of calm determination. As he prepared for his lifts, there was no hint of the physical agony he had been enduring. With the eyes of the world upon him, Anderson executed his lifts with a mix of grace and sheer power that left the audience spellbound. His performance was nothing short of awe-inspiring. He not only clinched the gold medal, but also set a new Olympic record, sending ripples of disbelief and admiration through the spectators and competitors alike. As he stood on the podium, the American national anthem playing in the background, his eyes welled up with tears, not just of joy but also of relief. Here was a man who had wrestled with destiny and won, fighting not just against a roster of global talent, but against his own ailing body. In that moment, he transcended the realm of sport to become a symbol of indomitable will and the epitome of human potential. As the dust settled after the euphoria of the Melbourne Olympics, Paul Anderson returned home a national hero. However, his battles were far from over. The kidney condition that had plagued him during the Games continued to deteriorate, becoming a constant adversary in his life. While the world saw him lifting extraordinary weights, few understood the weight of the medical struggle he carried within him. Multiple surgeries and treatments followed, leading to prolonged periods away from the sport he loved. Paul Anderson's impact did not stop at inspiring individuals through his story. He leveraged his fame and influence to contribute positively to society. Notably, he founded a youth home, providing a safe space for vulnerable children and teenagers. The home aimed to instill the same values of hard work, discipline, and resilience that Anderson himself had exemplified. Anderson was also actively involved in various charitable activities, from fundraisers to community-building efforts. It was as though he was determined to lift not just weights but also the human spirit. His contributions made him more than a sports legend. They made him a true American hero, someone who not only broke records but also barriers. Paul Anderson's triumph at the 1956 Melbourne Olympics was not just a personal milestone. It represented a seismic shift in the world of weightlifting. Until Anderson's victory, the conventional wisdom had held certain beliefs about the limitations of the human body and what was achievable in the sport. His win shattered these preconceptions, setting new benchmarks and elevating the standard for aspiring weightlifters. The body has its limits, and even the mightiest among us are not exempt from the passage of time and the toll it takes. Paul Anderson, the man who had defied all odds to become a legend in weightlifting, ultimately had to bow out of the sport he so dearly loved. His kidney condition, coupled with the wear and tear that came with years of lifting extraordinary weights, necessitated a step back from competitive weightlifting. However, even in retirement, Anderson remained a pivotal figure in the sport. His experiences, wisdom, and techniques were passed on to the next generation of lifters through coaching and seminars. His influence was imprinted on the training regimens, tactics, and even the philosophical approach to weightlifting for years to come. So there you have it. Paul Anderson wasn't just strong. He was a force of nature that lifted an entire generation. Now, go be your own hero. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more epic stories. Until next time, stay strong,